Hello, Stephanomics here, the podcast that brings you the global economy. And yes, it does feel a little too soon for winter wonderlands, but it is December, the month when shopkeepers around Europe usually make most of their profit for the year. And thanks to President Putin, the Christmas lights that typically lure people into the central shopping districts aren't going to be burning so brightly or as long.
We're selling
snowboard and ski apparel. If people don't want to come into town anymore to buy something like this and instead only shop online, that hurts us very, very much.
That was Tim Stichel. For 30 years now, his store called Railslide has been the go-to place for everything related to skating and snowboarding in Frankfurt, central Germany. It's located very conveniently. Shoppers can find it downtown, right between Frankfurt's Zeil main shopping street and the Römer Square with its famed Christmas market. In the run-up to the holidays, that usually brings a lot of foot traffic into his store, with shoppers looking for snowboards, jackets and gloves to put under the tree. But this year, things are different. Russia invaded Ukraine, which plunged Europe's relations with its main fuel provider into an ice age. Energy prices on the continent are soaring, and governments are looking for ways to save natural gas and electricity. In this situation, Christmas lights have become a comparatively easy sacrifice to cut down on energy use. European streets are traditionally decorated with sometimes thousands of twinkling stars and fairy lights for the season. But now, more than a dozen cities like Paris, London, Copenhagen, Zurich and Berlin have cut their lights short, reduced their area, or even outright banned them. Frankfurt is among them, cutting large light displays and a number of Christmas trees. For retailers like Tim, this is a cause for concern. He doesn't have an online shop, so he's dependent on people coming into town. Since the city of Frankfurt has also decided not to heat the toilets on the Christmas market this year, another energy-saving measure, he worries that many people are going to stay home and just shop online.
This is the most important time of the year, I'll say that. Around Easter we sell a lot, and then at Christmas. I don't want to name precise proportions, but Christmas does stand for a very, very large part of our revenue.
Worries about the holiday sales are echoed throughout Europe, especially as other indicators have already suggested consumers might spend a lot less on Christmas this year. Disposable incomes shrunk almost 5% globally between this summer and last, according to recent figures from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. High energy prices and rising inflation rates are eating away on the money people can spend. For retail experts, this puts a big question mark over the likely success of this year's holiday season. Here's Marcel Stoffel, who leads the Council of Shopping Places in Switzerland.
It's
hard to make any forecasts, because you always forecast based on past data. But this year we had so many out-of-the-ordinary variables that you basically can't do that. Going by consumer sentiment, it's certainly at an all-time low. You would expect catastrophic holiday sales judging from that. I hope it won't be quite as severe as that.
But does cutting back on nighttime lighting even make sense? A closer look at the power consumption of lights suggests that might actually not be the case. An example from Paris. Nighttime lighting of the Eiffel Tower only accounts for 4% of the landmark's electricity use, with heating and powering the commercial areas on the tower's first floor using much more. But that didn't stop Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo from announcing that the tower will switch off its lights an hour early each evening to save energy.
Fin de l'illumination de la Tour Eiffel à 23h45, ce qui correspond aussi à la fermeture de la Tour Eiffel, donc à l'heure de fermeture de la Tour Eiffel, donc on cale.
With Christmas lights, the magic word seems to be LED. The company behind the light ensemble on Zurich's pricey Bahnhofstrasse shopping street maintains that the entire installation of more than 23,000 snowflake-themed diodes doesn't use more than 3 kilowatt-hours per hour lit. That's about the same a household oven uses per hour if you run it on maximum temperature. Still, the City Commission of Zurich decided to halve the time the lights are on from about 10 to 5 hours every day this year for the sake of saving energy. So it seems that in many places, cutting the Christmas lights might actually be more about saving face than actually about saving energy. And that also doesn't stop at retailers. Here is Marcel Stoffel again.
If somebody now doesn't abstain at all and says, hey, I'm just doing my decorations like every year, and his lights then are big and noticeable, then it may happen that he gets some critical comments like, doesn't he get it? You should really show some effort this year and save energy wherever it's possible.
So retailers are indeed torn on whether they should put up Christmas lights. On the one hand, they fear less festive atmosphere might hurt their sales. On the other, however, they dread being chastised by shoppers for not making enough of an effort on saving energy. That means that on Europe's major and minor shopping streets, you'll be seeing shopkeepers who, in addition to the reduced lights outside, also have decided to take down the lights inside their shops. They are hoping that customers give them credit for that. That is, if war and inflation left some interest in shopping and they didn't decide to stay home in the first place. Stoffel is going the other way.
We're currently going through such dark times. It wouldn't hurt if we had some Christmas lights.
For Bloomberg News, I'm Bastian Benrath.